So as mentioned earlier, how does the attacker trick the victim into making this request? There's lots of different ways to trick someone into making a request that they didn't make. So all these different ways of tricking the victim, they all are things you can do. Now, CSRF in general doesn't specify a particular strategy. It just says you're going to trick the victim into making the request. And how you achieve this is up to you. But all of these end up being examples of CSRF attacks. So here are some examples. Maybe you trick the victim into clicking a link. Remember that if you click a link in your browser, that will take you to that page, and the browser has to make a GET request to download that page and display it to you. So maybe if you send the user an email and you tell the user, you should really click on this link, and the user doesn't look and they click it, well, then their browser is going to make a request to bank.com/transfer amount equals 100 to Mallory. So maybe this GET request is sending money to Mallory. So maybe we just have the victim click on a link, and if the victim isn't paying attention, they click on the link, they make a request, the request has the cookies, and now the malicious request has happened. Now, there's other ways to get a user to click a link. Maybe the link opens an attacker's website. So we tell the attacker, click here, and they open it, and it takes them to evil.com. And once you're on evil.com, that website might have some JavaScript on it, which your browser will run. And if your browser runs the JavaScript, maybe the JavaScript itself makes the request. Remember we said JavaScript is pretty powerful. It can also make HTTP requests. So maybe you open evil.com because you've been tricked, and evil.com has JavaScript that makes this request. Now, even trickier than having a user click on a link is to have the user visit a website, and somewhere on that website, the GET request is automatically fetched. So for example, remember we said that if you want to embed images on a website, the way that you do it is you use image tags, you link a URL, and your browser, in order to load this image, will make a GET request, download the image, and show it to the user. So anytime you have image tags on an HTML page, the website will automatically trigger a GET request. You'll go download the image and show it to the user. So maybe if you know that the victim is going to visit some website, and you control that website, maybe it's like Facebook where anyone can put stuff on the website, or it's a forum somewhere, or it's like EdSTEM or something. Maybe you go on that website and you put this malicious image tag, you make a post with this image tag, and now when the user loads the website, the browser is going to read all the HTML. In the HTML, there's this image tag that says, you should go fetch the image at this URL. So what does your browser do? Well, your browser goes to that URL, makes a GET request to try and download an image. Now, is that URL actually an image? In this case, probably not. So you will get an error that says, actually, that's not an image. But it's too late. You already made the GET request, so all of your money has been transferred, even if you end up seeing an error as the image. So both of these are strategies if your goal is to trick the victim into making an HTTP GET request. Now, POST requests are a little bit trickier. So remember, GET requests, they're usually used to download some data, and you're not usually changing the state of the server. That's not 100% true. Here are some examples where you did change the server state. But in general, GET requests don't change the server state. So maybe there are some other ideas to trick the user into making a POST request. Now, POST requests are a little bit trickier because if you type a link in your browser and you hit enter, or if you click on a link, that usually triggers GET requests by default, and they don't trigger POST requests. So we can't make the user just click on a link and trigger a POST request. That doesn't really work because links usually trigger GET requests in your browser. So instead, we have to be a little bit more malicious. For example, the user clicks on a link that opens evil.com, and then evil.com runs some JavaScript in the browser that triggers the actual POST request that you want. So you can still do POST requests. It's a little bit more work, but you can still trick the user into making a malicious POST request, for example, with some JavaScript. And another idea might be to put JavaScript on the website that you know a victim will visit. So if you know that a victim is constantly visiting some website and it's a forum or it's some page that you control, maybe you can embed some JavaScript on that website. And when the user goes to that website and executes the JavaScript, they make the malicious request and the CSRF attack happens. Or maybe some website accepts advertisements, so you buy an advertisement and you put the JavaScript in the advertisement that shows up on the website. That could also work. But ultimately, there's lots of different strategies. All of them end in the same attack, which is the victim being tricked into making a request that they didn't intend to make, and the cookies get automatically attached.